Sekiro is usually considered one of the harder, if not the hardest FromSoft game. Most of the discussions I've seen about the difficulty put it near the top, and when the game came out there was a lot of talk about it being too hard. It also created a lot of rage compilations as well. So for this video, I wanted to show you guys how I go about doing a no-hit run. If you want the most optimal way of doing this run, then there's definitely better people to watch for that. I'm not as good at the game, and I'm just showing how I attempt the run based on the info I've learned from those other players. One thing I wanted to specify is what makes this run so difficult. It's the difference between blocking and deflecting. So obviously if you take damage from an attack, that counts as a hit, but if you just block an attack, that also counts as a hit. Here's what I mean by that. There's a distinct difference in the sound and the visual effects between blocking versus deflecting. Scrubbing through these videos can be pretty difficult because you have to watch for each sword clash and make sure that they're all deflections. With all that said, let's get into the video. For Genichiro first fight, I attack him until he either blocks my attacks twice or starts an animation for a few of his other attacks. Anytime he does his sweeping perilous attack, I'll jump on him. Since I don't have Mediocre counter yet, for his jumping stab attack, I'll instead just move to his side to avoid it. When he starts his flurry attack, I find it safer just to back away from him until he's done. Now his flurry attack in his second phase is a little bit different because at the very end of it he shoots his bow, so I have to make sure that I'm ready to dodge it. Kind of messed up the jump here, not actually jumping on him. Also, for those of you that don't know, if you actually beat Genichiro here instead of dying to him, you get a different cutscene. Starting at the outskirts wall gate path idle, I go over the gate here and drop down off the cliff on the other side to grab some gotcha and sugar. These items are super important and we're going to need quite a few of them throughout the run. Right before the chained ogre, I go ahead and pop one and take out the 2 foot soldiers nearby. Once they're taken care of, I sneak up next to the chained ogre so that way I can take off an entire health bar instantly. I didn't actually mean to lock on him here, and after a little bit I end up unlocking, but you pretty much just want to keep attacking him until it looks like he's about to attack you, and if you're unlocked it's pretty easy to step dodge around him. You can get a lot of hits in between his attacks, but I would definitely be careful because you don't want to be stuck in an attack animation when you should be dodging. Another important item we want for this run is divine confetti, and one can be found directly after fighting the chained ogre. Once I grab that, I head back to where I picked up the first gotcha and sugar and head over to the building with the lady that holds the bell, and underneath I pick up the coins. At the top of the ridge nearby the building, there's a merchant that's going to sell us Robert's firecrackers, and we're definitely going to want those for Gyoubu. After heading back to the temple and equipping the firecracker prosthetic, I make my way back to the Gyoubu arena. Starting off this fight, I try to get 5 hits in, and then after those 5 hits, that's when he starts to run away, and I pop my firecrackers to do a little bit more damage to him. Then from there, the fight honestly gets pretty boring because I try to fight him in a pretty safe way. I always have an issue with Gyoubu for some reason, so I've kind of just been used to fighting him this way. After this specific 3-hit combo, I can get 1, sometimes 2 hits in. And then for this specific 3-hit combo, I can safely get 2 in, but this time he's stunned, so I was able to get a lot more in. There's definitely a lot of running around and waiting for him to do certain combos. When he starts spinning his spear around, if I'm close to him, I can just jump at him and keep hitting him until he runs away. Whenever I grapple towards him, I can get 1 hit in, but then I try to run away immediately. Whenever he throws his spear, that's another safe hit. There's another move that he does, but he didn't do it until the second phase for some reason. Whenever he's doing a long windup and stabs his spear in the ground, that's another safe 2 hits. Also, after the fight, I make sure to increase my attack power. And if you want to make the fight go a little bit faster, you can use an Akko Sugar at the beginning of the fight. After the idol in Gyoubu's arena, I go kill the rat for Isshin so I can get a skill line that I'll need for later. Then I just make my way to the bull, jumping specifically on this wall so I don't alert the 2 guards that are at the bottom of the stairs. For this fight, I like to stay unlocked and I want to be by his hind legs for most of the fight. Whenever we get close to one of his back legs, I charge up a stab attack. The scenario I'm looking for is having the bull try to reach back behind him with his head, and that allows me to dash at his hind leg, do another stab attack, get 1 slash in, and repeat. Preferably when he runs away, you want him heading towards a wall instead of open space. This would cut down on your runtime and the odds of him charging at you, which can be pretty hard to dodge. And then immediately after killing the bull, I run back towards the entrance and use the homeward idol and choose the last commune idol. This allows me to avoid the 2 soldiers coming from the gate behind me and actually warps me to the idol past the gate. For the path to Genichiro, I make my way to the rooftop just before the enemies. Then I just stand there until I get the attention of one and his triangle above his head actually turns yellow. Then I immediately pop a Gotchin Sugar and wait for him to forget about me. Once he does, I go in for my kill, continue around the rooftop, and jump inside the building. After killing the first dude, I open the door and use another Gotchin Sugar, go directly to the right and jump through the roof to pick up 2 more, and then continue my way past these enemies and ready to fight Genichiro. For the Genichiro fight, he starts off by shooting an arrow, and then it kind of just becomes like the first time we saw him. Except this time when he does his plunging attack, I have Mikiri counter, so instead of moving out of the way, I block it instead so I can Mikiri counter his follow-up. A lot of this fight has a rhythm of 2s for me, whether that be slashes or blocks. So like here we have 2 slashes and a block, and then I slash 2 more times and then have to move in at him. Again, when I see him starting up his long combo, I just block the first 2 attacks and then run away from him. Whenever I block twice and see that he dodges away from me, I know he's about to jump up in the air and shoot some arrows at me, so I have to kind of move forward towards him, and then as he begins to shoot the first arrow, I dodge toward and like to the right of him. Also, weirdly, when you're starting a new phase, the first time in a new phase that he dodges away from you, he never goes up and shoots arrows, so that's just a weird thing about him. Also, not every plunging attack is going to lead to a Mediocre counter. Sometimes he does a sweeping attack that I just jump on him for. Now for the second phase, he always starts off with his lunge attack, which is super easy to Mediocre counter. He likes to run all the way around me and I just jump on his head for it. Now for a normal run, we kind of like when he does his lightning attacks because we can get a lot of damage on him, but for this no-hit run, I want to avoid them, so I'm not going to be jumping up in the air and blocking him. Instead, when he does like his arrow lightning attack, I'm just going to move to the right of him. One of the other lightning attacks that I see a lot during this is his lightning slash one that he does, but he didn't do it this time. For that one, I just dodge forward at the right time. After fighting Genichiro, we're going to choose these specific skills here, run through the dialogue, and grab a few keys on our way to Armored Warrior. A lot of enemies we can just run past, but there's a few that you'll want to kill on the way. Also, making sure to be in the grass as much as possible. After running past the human-like enemies, we're gonna reach the little gremlins, and we definitely want to kill a few of these. Armored Warrior messed up a lot of my runs in the past, so I always get a little worried when I'm about to fight him again. After killing the last one here, we're ready to fight Armored Warrior. I try to get this fight over as fast as possible, so I pop a Akko Sugar and start off by using my firecrackers, and then follow up with 4 hits. The move he does that allows me to Mediocre counter is kind of weird, and if I'm too close to him, I kind of just dash past him, so instead I back up a little bit before I Mediocre counter. Then I get some hits in as he charges up his barrage attack. If you didn't know, even if you perfectly deflect / parry that last attack in his barrage, if your posture is getting towards the end there, it's still going to break your posture. But from the rules set by Team Hit List, it doesn't count as a hit. Though if you really wanted to refine that part more, I think you just have to upgrade your posture at least once. For the path to the folding screen monkeys, we want to stay on these rooftops all the way up until we get to the temple. Then when we're on the final rooftop, I pop a Gotcha Sugar for 2 reasons here. First is so these guys take a little bit longer to recognize me so I can safely pass right by them. And the second is so I'm already concealed for a little bit when I actually start the folding screen monkeys fight. I immediately start by killing the invisible monkey behind me and then go and use the elusive bell to reset the area. Then I just jump on the roof right ahead of me and kill the second monkey, and then immediately jump down to the tree to kill the third. Finally, I make my way to the upper left of the temple and open the door. Then I can go back out from where I came and jump on the roof. That way I can get that 4th monkey to jump down this hole and can kill him. Then once the fight's over, I make sure to increase my strength, and also I get the skills needed for a double Ichimonji. After killing the rat near Gyoubu and getting a few Gotcha Sugar, I make my way to the gun fort. I kill a few of the enemies on the way just to be safe, and then I make sure to use a gotcha sugar before I get into the dangerous part of the gun fort. You definitely want to have a suppressed presence at this point because the snipers can see you from really far away and you don't want to get shot. After waiting to lose aggro, I sneak up to the bridge and walk until I reach the 5th knot on the right. From there, I start running and leap over the right side of the bridge. Then I always do a little jump on the rock like this. This is all so I can avoid the shots that are being fired at me. Then I just wait until I lose all suspicion and continue up the fort. I pop another gotcha sugar and kill this enemy, that way I don't alert the shotgun dude so early. For long arm centipede, I really want firecrackers, Ichimonji double, and some fistful of ash. I start off by popping an Akko sugar. And then for the rest of the fight, I really just want to hit him with either the firecracker or fistful of ash, get around behind him, and then use Ichimonji double. Using the double Ichimonji in the correct position directly behind him, he ends up rolling away from you, but I kind of mess it up a lot. I ran out of firecrackers at this point, so I needed to switch to the ash instead. It does the same exact thing as the firecrackers, it's just a bit less forgiving. And after repeating the same attack over and over, he finally dies. Once long arm's taken care of, I rush past the snake and make my way to the idol just before the guardian ape. I only want to unlock the idol at this point. I don't want to fight Guardian Ape just yet. I'm actually going to save Guardian Ape for the second to last boss for this run. After reaching the idol, I'm going to continue going down and get past the snake again. There's a couple ways of getting past the snake down here, but I want to be as safe as possible, so I'm going to use the puppet ninjutsu to take over this monkey and distract the snake. From there, I arrive in another FromSoft poison swamp. The next boss is Snake Eyes, and I want to pop a gotcha sugar so I can sneak up behind her. I can take off one life bar here, and then I switch to a double Ichimonji strat. This pretty much consists of blocking one attack and then going straight into the double Ichimonji. And other times she'll try her perilous grab attack, which that you can just dodge out of the way, or if you time it correctly, you can also deflect. Even after taking off the first health bar, the gotcha sugar is still important here because if I didn't have it on at this point, being in the specific spot that I am, getting her kind of trapped, I would be open to the gunner guys that are in the background. Right after fighting Snake Eyes, we see one reason why I didn't want to fight Guardian Ape back there. If you fight him beforehand, he'll end up back here with another ape, and I don't want to deal with that on a no-hit run. So by saving him for later, we can avoid an entire boss fight, which makes this sure ending run a little bit easier. Also, if you didn't know, you can do a little branch jump here to skip this whole section. After taking out that tough boss, I go back to the Gyoubu Arena Merchant and buy a few more fistfuls of ash. I like having a decent supply on hand for this next part. And I just keep progressing upward until I reach the gate for the Corrupted Monk here. Now, Corrupted Monk is a pretty interesting fight here, and I use fight generously because instead of any sort of complicated sword combat here, I can actually just kill him instantly. The strat here is to sneak up behind the monk and use either firecrackers, fistfuls of ash, or snap seeds to push them back towards the stairs here. It's been a little while since I've done this, so I was messing up a bit here, but once she's in the right position next to the stairs, you're going to want to line yourself up between her and the stone behind you. From there, you can jump off the stone behind you and perform a death blow. After that, we want to make sure that we can upgrade our spirit emblem, so we hold a total of 17 and then pick up the key item. From there, head straight to Isshin Reservoir so I can pick up the spear prosthetic. After getting it fitted to my arm, the next boss to fight is Guardian Ape. Starting off this fight, I pop an Aqua Sugar and Divine Confetti. Immediately after running in and popping my firecrackers, I use 2 mortal draws. From there, I follow up with 2 more normal attacks and wait for him to put his left hand on the ground, and once I see that, I can start attacking him again. Now, I was actually attacking him a bit too much here. If I would have waited for the hand placement again, I could have kept him in that stun, but because I attacked a little bit too much, I broke him out of the stun and he went on to do his normal attacks again. Even with that little mess up at the end there, I was able to take out the first phase no problem. I make sure to use another Divine Confetti here and make sure to switch to my spear prosthetic. This is where the fight goes on for a while because I'm really looking for a couple specific moves that I want to deflect on. This combo that he's doing is probably my favorite and the easiest to deflect. Once he's stunned from the big deflect, I follow up with 1 normal attack and then use my spear. If you didn't know, the spear is super effective against the second phase of this boss. You're basically using the spear to jab into his neck and then pull out the centipede inside. The retracting of the spear is what does the most damage, so when you hit whatever button you use to use the spear, you just need to make sure that you tap it again to retract it. And again, because I'm trying to do this without getting hit, a lot of this fight is running away and making sure I have a good amount of distance, so if he does that yelling attack, I have time to get away from it. I ran out of spirit emblems at this point, so for the stuns I just have to follow up with normal attacks. I don't think I've ever actually tried using a charged stab attack there, so it might actually do more damage, I'm not too sure. Once the ape's taken care of, I make sure to get the last important upgrade, which is the upgraded Mediocre counter, and then grab our other key item. We have 1 more boss for the run for the Shura ending, and the path ain't too bad. And this sugar is definitely going to be handy. I'm really only worried about this enemy, so I wait for him to do his drop kick. Once he starts coming down to my level, that's when I decide to grapple up. When you get to this part of the run without taking a hit, the pressure is building like crazy, especially because it's a 2-for-1 boss. And in typical no-hit run fashion, I fucked up right at the end. I messed up the deflect here and ended up dying for it. Now, since this is a guide, it really doesn't matter that I died here, but I kind of wanted just some sort of explanation why I have the res tokens above my health bar here. Now, Emma's not too bad for this fight. This is another one of those bosses you want to get into that dancing rhythm, but this time it's more of 1 attack, 1 block, 1 attack, 1 block, and repeat. Normally I would have eaten that sugar that halves your health bar and increases your attack power before this fight, but I kind of used it in the attempt before this that I botched. Whenever she starts her grab move, I just run away and wait for the animation to be done. Now for Isshin, I like to wait just before the fight's gonna start and pop a Divine Confetti. He always starts by charging at me. Whenever he uses his Ichimonji, whether it's the first phase or the second phase, you can just move to the right to avoid it. He also has a nice Mikiri counter. Whenever he backs away from me, I do not go after him. I just wait for him to charge at me again. When he's in that stance, it's like he's baiting an attack from you, and I really don't like trying to deflect it. The real rhythm you want to get in for this fight is attack twice, deflect twice, and repeat. When doing follow-up attacks after his Ichimonji, I like to be at what I guess could be like a 45-degree angle. You just don't want to attack directly behind him because he throws out this stupid sweeping attack that I find really hard to deflect. The second phase now has a few extra moves here. Some of them are actually just the same moves with fire added, so I'm not going to count them as different. You'll dodge them the same way. Now for his big area fire blast thing, you want to avoid that altogether, so I just pop a firecracker to stop his animation. For his fire path attack, you can just run right or left and jump right at the end, but it has caught me a few times. Sometimes I add in a mortal draw for extra damage. And with that, the run is over. Now, it does feel a little weird with the death in there, so I want to add in the first time, and only, that I actually completed the no-hit run.
Might.
Oh shit, I forgot to... Oh my fucking god. Finally. If you made it to this part of the video, I appreciate it. I really love this game, and if anything I said in this video helped you out in your runs, please let me know in the comments. Hope to see you again.